Every night, you disappear. Not just your body, but your consciousness. You close your eyes, and reality dissolves. But where do you go? Science tells you that sleep is nothing more than the body's way of restoring itself, a necessary function to keep you alive. But if that were the whole truth, why does your mind take you to places that feel just as real as waking life? Why do some dreams leave you with emotions that linger for days? And why do certain people experience things in their sleep that defy logic, time, and even physical reality? For centuries, civilizations across the world have believed that sleep is more than just rest, that it is a gateway, a passage into something beyond human comprehension. Ancient cultures, mystics, and even modern scientists have stumbled upon strange phenomena within sleep that suggest it is far more complex than we've been led to believe. And yet mainstream science barely acknowledges these questions. It tells you that dreams are nothing more than random firings of the brain, a side effect of neural activity. But what if that explanation is incomplete? What if the real reason you dream has been hidden from you? Perhaps the greatest deception isn't what you see when you're awake. It's what you don't see when you're asleep. You've been told that sleep is a time of stillness, that your body and mind shut down so they can recover from the exhaustion of the day. But this is a lie. Your brain never truly sleeps. In fact, during certain phases of sleep, it becomes even more active than when you're awake. Scientists have recorded brain waves in REM sleep that show intense electrical activity, sometimes surpassing that of conscious thought. But here's the strangest part. The areas responsible for logic and decision-making slow down, while the regions linked to visuals, emotions, and memory become hyperactive. Why would the brain prioritize imagery and deep emotions if sleep was just about rest? What exactly is happening when you dream? People report experiencing full conversations, detailed landscapes, and events so vivid they struggle to believe they weren't real. Some even wake up with knowledge they didn't have before. Have you ever dreamed of a place you've never been, only to find it exists in real life? Have you ever heard words in a dream that didn't feel like they came from you? If sleep is just a biological function, why does it feel like something more? Why do people experience emotions so intense that they carry them into waking life? There's something else that doesn't add up. If the brain is supposed to be resting, why does it generate entire worlds? Why does it create complex, emotional experiences that sometimes feel more real than anything you've encountered in waking life? And why is it that during sleep, your sense of time completely breaks? A dream that feels like hours can pass in just a few minutes of real time. A single night's sleep can contain an entire lifetime's worth of experiences. Why? Most people never stop to question these things. They wake up, dismiss their dreams as meaningless, and carry on with their day. But ancient cultures saw sleep differently. Many believed that dreaming was a form of communication, a way for the mind to access knowledge beyond the physical world. Indigenous tribes viewed dreams as sacred messages. Ancient Egyptians believed that sleep allowed the soul to temporarily leave the body. Some Buddhist teachings suggest that the dream state is just as valid as waking life, and that what we perceive as reality might be nothing more than another form of dreaming. So which version of the truth is real? The one that tells you sleep is just the brain's way of recharging, or the one that suggests sleep is a gateway, a passage into something beyond what you experience in waking life? Science has mapped out the electrical activity of the brain, but it has no true explanation for why dreams feel so meaningful, why they sometimes reveal hidden knowledge, or why people across different cultures and time periods have reported eerily similar dream phenomena. Some things about sleep are so profound that they can't be openly discussed. That's why we share exclusive knowledge in our free newsletter, Insights Academy. There are truths we can't speak about here, but inside the newsletter we go deeper. Sign up now through the link in the description, and for a limited time, you'll also receive a free digital copy of The Kybalion. Think about what this means. Every night, you close your eyes and your consciousness shifts into an entirely different state of being. You experience visions that sometimes feel more real than waking life. You interact with people, places, and emotions that don't belong to your day-to-day experience. But when you wake up, you dismiss it all as fantasy. What if it isn't? What if, every night, you're entering a hidden world, one that exists parallel to the one you call reality? And if that's true, then the real question isn't just what happens when you sleep, but what's actually happening when you wake up. Every night, as your body sinks into the depths of sleep, something remarkable happens. A chemical is released within your brain, a substance so powerful that those who have taken it in its purest form describe experiences that defy language, time, and even reality itself. This compound is known as DMT, dimethyltryptamine. It is one of the most potent psychedelics known to science, capable of inducing visions of vast otherworldly landscapes, encounters with strange entities, and journeys through dimensions beyond human comprehension. But here's the most unsettling part. Your brain naturally produces it, and scientists believe that it floods your system every single night while you dream. Why? If dreams are nothing but the brain sorting through memories, why would the body release a substance associated with profound mystical experiences, near-death phenomena, and altered states of consciousness? If sleep is just about resting the body, why would it need to create visions that feel hyper-real, where people often report meeting beings, receiving knowledge, or experiencing emotions deeper than anything they've felt in waking life? What are we truly tapping into when we dream? People who have taken synthetic DMT through traditional shamanic practices or modern psychedelic research often describe eerily similar experiences, being pulled into another dimension, encountering sentient entities, and receiving information that feels impossibly vast, yet deeply personal. These experiences mirror dream states so closely that some researchers have started to question whether dreaming and the DMT experience are connected. What if dreams aren't just figments of imagination, but brief windows into other realms, accessible only when consciousness is freed from the limitations of the physical body? Consider the fact that those who experience near-death experiences report strikingly similar visions, floating through tunnels of light, feeling an overwhelming sense of peace, encountering beings of intelligence beyond human comprehension. Many who survive these experiences come back forever changed, believing that they have glimpsed what lies beyond death itself. And yet, what is the common denominator? DMT. The same compound surges in the brain during moments of extreme trauma, just as it does every single night when you enter REM sleep. This raises an unsettling question. Are we truly asleep when we dream, or are we momentarily stepping into another form of existence? Could it be that DMT acts as a key, unlocking a door to a dimension we are not meant to remember? If so, why is it that when we wake up, most of us forget the experience almost instantly? Is the brain designed to suppress what it sees beyond the veil, keeping us anchored to this physical world? Modern science struggles to explain why the brain would naturally produce a compound that is so closely linked to out-of-body experiences, visions of parallel dimensions, and deep spiritual revelations. But ancient cultures have long understood that dreams are not simply illusions of the mind. They are glimpses into something beyond our everyday understanding. Some believe that what we call reality is just one layer of existence, and that sleep allows consciousness to temporarily escape its prison, returning to something vast, something infinite. If that is true, then what does that make waking life? If the mind needs a chemical like DMT to navigate dreams, and if that chemical is also tied to near-death experiences, then what is the real illusion? Is it possible that what we call reality is simply one frequency of perception, a temporary simulation designed to keep us from seeing the full picture? And if that's the case, then what happens when we finally wake up? You've had a dream before that felt different. Not like the chaotic, fragmented nonsense your mind usually pieces together during sleep, but something vivid, so precise, so real, that when you woke up, it stayed with you. And then days, weeks, or even years later, that exact moment unfolded in your waking life. the conversation, the place, the event, playing out exactly as you saw it in the dream. At first, you brushed it off as déjà vu, a coincidence. But deep down, you knew it wasn't. Throughout history, people have reported dreams that predicted the future. Some of these are personal, small details of daily life. Others have been chillingly prophetic, foreseeing disasters, deaths, and major world events. Abraham Lincoln reportedly dreamt of his own assassination days before it happened. The victims of the Titanic spoke of ominous premonitions before they boarded the ship. There are countless cases of people dreaming about tragedies before they occurred, knowing things they had no logical way of knowing. So if dreams are nothing more than random neural activity, how can this be explained? Mainstream science has tried to dismiss precognitive dreams as a fluke, a trick of the mind. They claim that our subconscious picks up subtle clues from our surroundings, and when something similar happens in real life, we convince ourselves we predicted it. But this doesn't explain the precision, the details that were impossible to have known beforehand. If dreams were simply recycling past experiences, they shouldn't be able to reveal events that have yet to unfold. Time is something we assume moves in one direction, forward. But what if this is only true in waking life? Quantum physics has already suggested that time isn't as linear as we perceive it. Some theories propose that past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. But the human mind is only tuned to experience time in a straight line. If that's the case, then what if sleep allows us to momentarily step outside of that limitation? Think about it. When you dream, your perception of time is completely different. A dream that lasts mere seconds in waking time can feel like hours, days, or even years. People have reported experiencing entire lifetimes within a dream, only to wake up and realize no time had passed. What does this tell us? That consciousness isn't bound by the same laws when we sleep. And if time doesn't function the same way in the dream state, is it so impossible to believe that, in certain moments, we might catch glimpses of a future that hasn't happened yet? Perhaps our consciousness doesn't experience time as a rigid sequence, but rather as a vast ocean, where every possible moment exists at once. When we sleep, when we dream, maybe we drift outside the limits of waking perception and tap into that ocean, catching fragments of a reality our physical brains aren't designed to process. And if that's true, then it means that our minds don't just passively experience reality, they navigate it, moving between moments, between possibilities, between past and future. So what does that mean for free will? If some people can dream of events before they happen, does that mean the future is already written? Or does it mean that dreams don't show us a fixed fate, but rather possibilities, glimpses into paths that could unfold? And if dreams can pull visions from a future that has yet to happen, then what else are they capable of revealing? What else is hidden in the depths of our sleeping mind, waiting to be uncovered? You wake up, but something is wrong. You try to move, but your body won't respond. A crushing weight presses down on your chest, and no matter how hard you struggle, you are trapped. And then you see it, a shadow standing in the corner of your room, watching. It doesn't move, but you can feel it. The air is thick, heavy with something you can't describe. Your heart pounds as you try to scream, but no sound escapes. You are completely aware, yet powerless. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it's over. You jolt awake, gasping for breath, feeling the aftershock of something far more than just a dream. Sleep paralysis is one of the most terrifying experiences a person can have, yet mainstream science dismisses it as nothing more than a brain malfunction. They tell you that it happens when the body lags behind in the process of waking up, that your mind becomes conscious before your body regains control. They say that the figures people see, the dark silhouettes, the demonic entities, the presence in the room, are just hallucinations, the brain misfiring in a half-dreaming state. But if that's true, why do millions of people across cultures and time periods report seeing the same thing? The shadow figure, the old hag, the man in the hat. These entities appear again and again, described by people who have never met, never spoken, never compared experiences. How is it possible that hallucinations, supposedly random and meaningless, manifest the same terrifying beings across history. Some cultures believe sleep paralysis is not a disorder, but an intrusion, an encounter with something that exists outside of normal perception. In many traditions, these shadow beings are not figments of the mind, but real entities, feeding on fear, drawn to the vulnerable state between sleep and wakefulness. In some ancient belief systems, they are thought to be spirits, demons, or interdimensional beings that exist alongside us but are usually unseen. And for a few moments during sleep paralysis, the veil is lifted. There's something else that doesn't add up: the feeling of presence. People who experience sleep paralysis don't just see these figures, they feel them. The overwhelming sense that something is there, intelligent, aware, watching. Some report whispers, guttural voices, or an unexplainable knowing that whatever is standing in the room is not from this world. A glitch in brain chemistry cannot explain this. And then there's the pressure. Many who experience sleep paralysis describe a crushing weight on their chest, as if something is pressing down on them, suffocating them. This sensation is so universal that it appears in folklore across the world. In medieval Europe, they spoke of the incubus and succubus, dark entities that would pin people down in the night. In Japan, it is known as kanashibari, a force that restrains the sleeper. In South America, some believe it is caused by spirits who seek to steal energy from the living. Why would every culture, every generation, describe the same experience if it were nothing more than a quirk of the brain? If sleep paralysis is just a trick of the mind, then why does it evoke a fear that feels ancient, primal? This isn't the fear of a nightmare. It is deeper than that. It is the terror of something unknown staring back at you from the darkness, something you were never supposed to see. And the question that lingers long after the paralysis fades is this: were you truly dreaming, or were you awake in a way that you have never been before? Most people drift through their dreams like passengers, caught in a stream of images and emotions they can't control. But some wake up inside the dream. They realize that the world around them, the streets, the sky, the people, are not real. And with that realization comes something extraordinary: the ability to control it. They can fly, change the scenery, create entire realities from thought alone. This is lucid dreaming, and it shatters everything we assume about the nature of consciousness. Think about what this means. When you dream, your mind constructs an entire world, complete with sensations, emotions, and experiences that feel real. The walls are solid, the air has weight, and the people you meet seem just as conscious as you. But when you become lucid, when you realize you're dreaming, suddenly those rules don't apply. The laws of physics bend to your will. You can shape the world as you see fit, rewrite reality in an instant. But here's the question no one asks. If your brain can create an entire universe while you sleep, then what makes waking life any different? Neuroscientists tell us that reality is just a construction of the brain. The colors you see don't exist as you perceive them. They are simply wavelengths of light interpreted by your mind. Time is not an absolute force, but a perception, something your brain organizes so you can function in a linear experience. If all of this is a projection, then how do we know that waking life isn't just another layer of the illusion? What if lucid dreaming is not about controlling a dream, but about waking up from one? Ancient traditions have long suggested that reality is not as fixed as we believe. In Tibetan Buddhism, dream yoga teaches that waking life and dream life are both illusions, and that recognizing the dream state is the first step to achieving enlightenment. Some believe that learning to control dreams is training for something much bigger, the ability to wake up from this reality itself. Could it be that lucid dreaming is more than just a mental trick? Could it be a glitch in the system, a crack in the illusion that lets us see the truth? Some researchers have suggested that the mechanics of lucid dreaming mimic what we would expect in a simulation. If reality were a simulated construct, designed to keep us unaware of its true nature, then lucid dreaming would be the equivalent of a hacker discovering a backdoor. Those who become lucid are no longer bound by the constraints of the program. They begin to manipulate the dream code itself. But what if that principle extends beyond sleep? If it is possible to wake up inside a dream, is it possible to wake up inside reality? Perhaps that is why lucid dreaming remains rare. Most people will go their entire lives without ever realizing that they can take control. Most will remain unconscious, both in their dreams and in their waking life. But for those who do wake up, those who become aware of the illusion, a door is opened. And once that door is opened, the real question is, where does it lead? There are places you've never been, yet somehow you know them. Streets you've never walked, but every turn feels familiar. Faces you don't recognize in waking life, but in your dreams, they are lifelong friends, family, lovers. Some dreams feel like stories, disconnected and surreal, but others feel like memories, glimpses of a life that isn't yours, yet belongs to you all the same. What if these aren't just dreams? What if, every night, you step into another version of yourself, living another existence, in a world that continues even after you wake up? Many people report experiencing recurring dream locations, places that don't exist in their waking life, but reappear again and again as if they are returning home. These landscapes are detailed, consistent, never changing. How is this possible if dreams are just random neural activity? A memory can fade, but a dream city, a dream house, a dream world remains exactly as it was, waiting for you. Some have even encountered the same people across different dreams, carrying on conversations that pick up where they left off. This isn't how imagination works. This is how reality works. The idea that dreams may be more than imagination aligns with one of the most groundbreaking theories in modern physics, the multiverse. Quantum mechanics suggests that every choice, every possibility, splits reality into infinite versions, parallel worlds where different outcomes play out. If this is true, then what if dreams are not just fabricated stories, but windows into these alternate lives? What if the you in another reality is dreaming of this world, just as you dream of theirs? Some believe that when we dream, our consciousness momentarily shifts into another version of ourselves, tuning into a different frequency of existence. This would explain why some dream environments feel more vivid, more familiar than they should. It would explain why people see the same places again and again, as if they are living two lives at once. The boundaries we assume are solid, the separation between this world and whatever exists beyond it, may be nothing more than a perception, a mental construct that keeps us grounded in one version of reality at a time. But what happens when those boundaries weaken? There are documented cases of people experiencing full, alternate lifetimes within a single dream. They wake up with memories of years spent elsewhere, memories that do not belong to this life, but are just as real, just as detailed. They recall childhoods, relationships, entire histories that vanish the moment they open their eyes. How can the brain construct something so vast, so complete, in just a few hours of sleep? Or is it that these lives already exist, and the dreamer has simply crossed over, momentarily slipping into the consciousness of another self? If dreams are glimpses into parallel realities, then what does that mean for waking life? Are we trapped in a single version of ourselves? Or do we exist across multiple dimensions, each one as real as the next? And if we can access these worlds in our sleep, is it possible that something, somewhere, is trying to access ours? If reality is infinite, then what happens when the dreamer no longer knows which world is home? You wake up, and for a moment, the dream is still there. The details are vivid, the emotions raw, but within seconds, it begins to slip away, dissolving like mist in the morning light. You grasp at fragments, an image, a feeling, a voice, but the more you try to hold on to it, the faster it vanishes. And then it's gone. Whatever you experienced, whatever world you had stepped into, is erased as if it never happened. But why? Why does the mind allow us to create entire realities in our sleep, only to strip them from our memory as soon as we wake? Mainstream science offers an explanation. The brain deprioritizes dream memories because they are not useful for survival. Dreams are chaotic, often bizarre, and don't follow the same rules as waking life. According to neuroscientists, the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, doesn't encode most dreams the same way it does waking experiences. The result? They disappear before we can consciously store them. But if dreams were truly meaningless, why does the brain put so much effort into generating them? Why do some dreams leave such a deep impact that they stay with us for years? And why are certain dreams so powerful that, despite this memory wipe, we wake up feeling like we've just touched something beyond comprehension? Some researchers believe that forgetting dreams isn't just a passive process, it's an active one. That the brain deliberately erases dream memories as a way of keeping us tethered to waking reality. If we remembered every dream with the same clarity as waking life, the boundary between the two might begin to break down. And maybe that's the point. Maybe we are not meant to remember. Maybe the act of forgetting is not a failure of the brain, but a mechanism designed to keep us from seeing something we were never supposed to understand. Consider the dreams that don't fade, the ones that remain sharp and vivid even years later. Sometimes they come in the form of warnings, premonitions, or encounters with figures that feel real, more real than anything in waking life. These are the dreams that refuse to be erased. If the brain wipes out most dreams as a protective measure, then why do some dreams override that function? What makes them different? Could it be that certain dreams are meant to stay with us, that they carry something too important to be forgotten? In some ancient traditions, dreams were seen as messages from another realm, a way for the unconscious mind, or even something beyond the self, to communicate truths that would otherwise remain hidden. But if this is true, then who or what decides which dreams we remember? What if the dreams that vanish contain knowledge too disruptive for us to carry into waking life? What if remembering too much would shatter the illusion of reality itself? If the brain is designed to suppress dream memories, then it is doing so for a reason. Whether that reason is biological or something far more unsettling is a question few dare to ask. But the next time you wake from a dream and feel it slipping away, ask yourself, what are you really forgetting? And more importantly, who decided you weren't supposed to remember? Every night, you close your eyes and surrender to the unknown. Your body becomes still, your awareness fades, and for hours, you exist in a state where time has no meaning. You drift through landscapes that seem both familiar and alien, encountering people and places that vanish the moment you wake. And then, just like that, you return to the world of the living, with only fragments of memory to remind you that you were ever gone. But what if sleep isn't just a necessity for the body? What if it's something far more profound? What if every night when you lay down to rest, you are rehearsing for something much greater, the final transition, the moment when you close your eyes and never wake up? Sleep and death have long been connected, not just in metaphor, but in function. In many ancient traditions, sleep was considered a temporary death, a moment when the soul would leave the body and journey into unseen realms. In Greek mythology, Hypnos, the god of sleep, was the twin brother of Thanatos, the god of death. In many spiritual teachings, the afterlife is described in ways eerily similar to dreaming, an altered state of consciousness where time and space become fluid, where the boundaries between self and reality dissolve. Could it be that sleep is not just rest, but a glimpse into what comes next? The similarities between sleep and death go deeper than symbolism. When you fall asleep, your brain waves slow down, your body enters a state of paralysis, and your awareness separates from your physical senses. This detachment mirrors the accounts of those who have experienced near-death experiences, people who have been clinically dead for minutes, only to return with stories of floating outside their bodies, seeing their lives flash before them, and entering realms beyond human understanding. The most common theme in near-death experiences? A sense of waking up, as if the world they encountered was more real than the one they left behind. There's another unsettling connection. The same compound believed to be responsible for dreaming, DMT, is also released at the moment of death. If DMT allows the mind to enter dream states, and if it also floods the brain during death, what does that mean? Could death itself be a transition into another state of consciousness, one that is no different from what we experience in sleep? If the dream world feels as real as waking life, what if death is simply the moment we step into that world permanently? Some who have returned from near-death experiences describe their journey as stepping out of one reality and into another. They speak of encounters with entities, of landscapes that exist beyond the limits of human perception. But what if this isn't something unique to death? What if we do this every night, but we simply forget? If sleep and death are connected, then what does that say about what happens when we dream? And more disturbingly, what does it say about the nature of waking life? Perhaps sleep is more than just preparation for the body. It is preparation for the mind, a slow, nightly reminder that what we call reality is not as solid as it seems, that one day we will close our eyes and this world will slip away just as easily as a forgotten dream. And when that moment comes, when we take that final breath, will we wake up somewhere else? Or have we been there all along, only now remembering what we were never meant to forget? Everything you've ever been told about sleep is incomplete. Science tells you that dreams are nothing more than the brain processing information, a random collection of thoughts and memories. But when you look at the evidence, the heightened brain activity, the presence of DMT, the phenomena of precognitive dreams, lucid experiences, and encounters with unknown entities, one thing becomes clear. Sleep is not just sleep. It is something far more profound, something we were never meant to fully understand. For years, you have accepted the idea that waking life is the only reality that matters, that dreams are just illusions, and that whatever happens in them is meaningless. But what if it's the other way around? What if the world you wake up to each morning is just one version of reality, and the world you enter when you sleep is just as real, perhaps even more real, than the one you've been conditioned to believe in? Every night your consciousness detaches from the physical world. Time bends, space shifts, and you experience realities that feel just as solid, just as emotional, just as real as anything in waking life. And yet every morning you dismiss them. Why? Because you've been taught to. Because the system that governs your reality does not want you asking questions it cannot answer. What is a dream? Where does consciousness go when we sleep? Are we stepping into other dimensions, shifting into alternate lives, tapping into something beyond human understanding? These are questions that shake the very foundation of what we believe reality to be. Think about it. If science admitted that dreams could reveal the future, that consciousness was not confined to the brain, that the mind could exist outside of time and space, then the entire framework of our understanding would collapse. The illusion of control would be broken. You were never meant to ask these questions because once you do, you realize that the world is not what it seems. You begin to see the cracks in the illusion, the evidence that reality is not as fixed as you were led to believe. And if you have made it this far, you are not like the others. You are beginning to wake up, not just from sleep, but from the deeper illusion of what you thought life was. You are beginning to see that reality is not singular, that consciousness is far more powerful than you've been told, and that the mysteries of sleep may be the very key to unlocking the truth about existence itself. Most people will sleep through life, never questioning what lies beyond. But if you want to go deeper, if you are ready to uncover knowledge that goes beyond what can be said here, join our free newsletter, Insights Academy. There are truths we cannot speak of openly, and for those who are ready, this is your next step. For a limited time, subscribers will also receive a free copy of The Kybalion, a book that has influenced some of the greatest minds in history. The link is in the description. Don't miss this. You now know what most people will never question. You now see what most will never consider. And as you lay down tonight, as sleep pulls you into that unknown space, ask yourself, what if I don't forget this time? What if I hold on to what I see? What if the dream world is waiting for me to finally wake up? If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, I understood it.